The Harper contains foul language and adult material. If you are easily offended and thin-skinned, you should hit the stop button now. And if you are not a complete idiot, let's get this party started.
What?
Let's get down to brass tacks, gentlemen. If I was informed correctly, the clock is ticking. Is that right, Jimmy?
But good luck arguing that in court. Let me get down to brass tacks.
Listen, let's get down to brass tacks here. How much for the ape?
Jack, let's just cut the crap and get down to brass tacks here.
Okay!
Hike up your motherfucking panties.
And pull them to the side.
This is the Harper.
Fuck you! No bullshit.
Yeah. Welcome back, Adam.
Yo!
What's the Harper? It's been a while.
What's
I know.
up, Jake?
Knocking the rust off a little bit here. It's been 15 days since we last recorded.
No way.
Feels like a long time. Not gonna lie.
Well, it does.
I know.
And I can't disagree. For a second there, I thought we were doing the live stream and I was going to give a little bit more info, but
yeah.
No, this is going to be a week from then.
That's what I'm saying.
And
it's gonna be a week from now.
And here we are.
That's all right. We still got some good stuff to bitch about tonight. So
I see you got your Making America Great Again
hat
hat
on. It just, some days you feel like it's time to just pull it out, And it's going to go really well. It's really going to go well with the first topic that we're going to get into this evening. So I felt it tonight, got little Donald representing, I figured that we had to show a little bit more support behind him back here.
Is that the big arm of Donald right there?
It is. That you folks at home can't see this, but just in case you were wondering, there is another Donald Trump bobblehead up and to your left.
In the cabinet.
It's hiding. Yes, it will be there for all time, so I can one day tell my grandchildren.
Still in the box.
Yes. Still with the receipt underneath the box.
Receipt?
Yes. So, do we have any public service announcement information for tonight?
Absolutely.
Boom.
So, check out our videos on YouTube. Those that are watching right now, you already know. Okay. Get on there, subscribe, and comment. Like we said last week, this is not I'm not just telling you to. I'm demanding it. Get out there and do it. It's about time. If you've been watching us, just hit the subscribe button.
Yep.
That way, every time we release something, every time we drop a video, you will be involved.
Yep.
Visit us at theharperguys.com.
Yep.
Follow there and subscribe. Once again, this is not I'm not asking you to. I'm demanding it. Go do it.
Yep.
We'll thank you later for it. And plus, the more response and the more follows we get, the more we know people are actually listening. Not that we don't think you are, but if we know you are,
yeah,
we're going to absolutely just keep the content rolling.
Yeah.
Lastly, visit us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. The first one, iTunes, please go on there and just give us a review. We've got actually, I don't know how many written reviews, but we've got like 12 positive 5 stars.
Really?
I mean,
sold.
For us, we're happy with that. That's great.
Right.
But we'd like more written reviews. Get on there, tell us if we're dog shit, if we're amazing, whatever you want.
Right.
And you know what?
Right, wrong, or
How about
indifferent.
this? How about this? The next 2 reviews on iTunes we get, I will give you a shout out on the show.
Boom. We'll give some shout out time.
Yes.
I'm down.
Let's do that.
I'd say they've earned it.
See that? We're making money already.
Yeah. Speaking of shout outs, we actually have our first addition to the tree besides our Harper gear back here. So the go ahead and pull this off for a quick second so you can really see it at home. This is the Shit Happens When You Party Naked podcast.
Right
so
on.
Just when you think our middle finger is about the craziest thing you're going to see on here, an entire podcast devoted to partying naked. So I can't wait to give them a listen and see. I know that you've had a little bit of contact back and forth with them, so I'm gonna have to get into it and see exactly
these guys,
what kind of shit happens. I don't really party naked often. That might come as a surprise for you. Even in my younger days, I was like, that's not really my thing. Wasn't my scene.
I keep the party naked with my lady.
That's right.
With my girl.
Right. With my lady. It's like a ladies' man.
Oh shit.
That's great. So welcome to the tree, party naked.
Yeah, and I'm gonna look up something real quick because I forgot to do this before we started.
Oh man.
And I wanted to add this to our little intro here. Let's see. Give
Okay.
me un momento. It's right here. We are also joining the Collaboration Network. Or
Yes.
let's put it this way: we have our application in.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident that we meet all the requirements. So, the Collaboration Network. This is something that we were kind of introduced to where 27 different podcasts will then be sharing promos with each other,
Right.
and then playing them at the beginning of every show.
Right.
So once this gets rolling, we will incorporate a 30-second to a minute
Yeah. Clip.
promo clip in the beginning of our show. So you will end up at some point hearing that.
You get to hear a little bit of variety of some of the other shows that are out there.
But I'm kind of excited because our listeners get to hear, some new podcasts they might want to check out.
Maybe, but let's be honest. I think that we're going into this because we think it's a good idea. We know that there's so much good content out there right now that really doesn't reach all the right people. We honestly think some of our content hasn't made it quite to where it needs to go yet. So the theory behind this is it's going to get our content out there a little bit. It's going to give you guys some exposure. If you have a job where you drive, something where you're spending some time chilling in the evenings, to where you enjoy listening to the radio or different podcasts. Maybe you're going to find something on here that's going to kind of fit in to what you like a little bit. But the one thing that I think that we would be doing a disservice if we didn't, once we know who we're doing each week, we're going to make an effort to at least listen to one or two shows. And I'm going to give you an honest feedback on what I think, Like, I'm not just going to be like, listen to Joe and Steve because some group fucking said that we should tell you to do that. No, I'm going to say, hey, this is Joe and Steve's information. I give them a 3 out of 10 because they fucking suck. Their sound quality blows, and I don't like their fucking topics. That's just going to, but if they're fucking good, I'm going to tell you that though, too.
I'm down with that. I'm down with giving an honest opinion. I think.
I feel like we owe it to our listeners.
The Hateful Eight know that we come at you straightforward,
Yes.
and we're not pulling any punches. We, what do we do? We get it down to brass tacks, as Saul Goodman.
Let me get down to brass tacks.
That's
Yeah.
right. So I like that, but if you don't agree with what's on one show, you got to definitely look through the topics to see what else they're producing.
Look.
Because I'm going to tell you what, we had an abortion episode.
Yeah.
And somebody may not like that, but if they look through all of our topics, they might be like, oh, okay, I see. These guys are diverse.
Yeah, but if they didn't like that show, then they're stupid because it wasn't about what we think about abortion. It was about putting a huge topic like that everybody goes, whoa, I don't really want to put my information out there because that might hurt my show. We said, fuck that. We're going to take on the fucking hard things, the things that nobody else will take on, and that's what we put on this show. So fuck them if they don't want to listen to us because they didn't like our abortion fucking show. So I'm just saying, I think that if we're going to ask somebody to take 30 seconds out of the beginning of our show and enjoy, kind of hearing what somebody else is going to be out there, I feel like we owe it to you to do a little bit more background before we feed it to you, just to make sure that, hey, and maybe our opinion sucks. If you think that we suck, maybe if we tell you they suck, they're exactly what you need. So we'll figure that out once we get there, right? I guess there's only one way to find out.
That's good. That's right.
Right. So speaking of the world of unprecedented things, this is going to be week and a half old news by the time this gets to you, but it's not going to change the awesome level of exactly what's going on.
Sheer awesomeness.
The fact, the images, I love that the images that they showed on television of our commander-in-chief walking through the demilitarized zone.
Can you start with, like, Barack and his,
I'll get there.
Okay.
But our amazing commander-in-chief walking through the demilitarized zone into North Korea, shaking hands with I'm not going to say that they've become an ally yet, but they've become mutual on some level to where it's like they have a dialogue. They speak. They don't have to agree on everything, but he was invited into the country. No sitting U.S. president has ever been allowed to step foot into North Korea. None. Not a single
Can
one.
I repeat that? None.
Zero.
Never. No.
0 for 44 before this. And people want to start stroking out about it. And this is where, it's funny because this is where it's almost like a dick measuring contest. It's like if you go back and look at the pictures of when Obama visited the militarized zone, he's behind glass with binoculars, trying to just see what's there so that he could say he was there. He wasn't invited there by anybody from the Un dynasty from North Korea. They didn't want that piece of shit there. They were like, no, you stay the fuck over there behind your glass. We're going to keep doing our thing over here. You know?
Behind your glass.
Sorry, he's not president anymore. I can call him a piece of shit now. For 8 years, I wouldn't have, though. I didn't call him a piece of shit for 8 years because he was my president back then. That's a fucking sad fact that most of these motherfuckers on the left haven't figured out yet. I'm still pissed off about it 2 years in. So 6 more years of this, and they can all kiss my ass. Is what it's going to come down to.
3 years now.
3?
Did he get elected in 16?
What?
Didn't Trump get elected in 2016?
Yeah, but I mean, we have the rest of this year and all of next year. It's not till January of next year. So a year and 7 months. Sorry.
Okay.
Whatever. 5 years and 7 months.
That's
I'm just
better.
saying.
That's better.
I'm just saying. We're not done yet. So the problem with this is people can't just be like, you know what? That's pretty badass. Because right before Trump was elected president, we were on the brink of war with this country. He came out the way that he does, and he was like, all right, time to put my big boy pants on. Instead of being, oh, what can I do to help you, sir? I just want to be your friend. Please don't shoot any nukes at my country. I don't know how that's going to go. He was like, look, bitch, you little tiny bitch. If you want to talk like men, we can talk like men. If you want to keep being a fucking pussy and threatening with your fucking warheads and shit, we'll throw down. We're not afraid. We're the U.S. of fucking A. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that offend people? It offended everybody back then. But now that I use that, this guy's like, oh, you're not the same pussy that was in here before? Okay, cool, bro. Let's sit down and talk. Like, you're all right. You know, that doesn't mean that we agree with everything that Kim Jong-un is doing. I don't think our president believes that way. I'm going to get into a little bit more here in a minute about why, but do you have any thoughts on this? I just feel like I'm running rampant. And I've got like four or 5 points to just
This is one of the topics that I know you know more about, and I want you to fucking hit home runs, which you have already. I just, personally, I think this is fucking badass.
Yeah.
Because the guy is still crazy. I'm talking Kim Jong-un.
Sure.
He's still a nut job.
Yeah.
That doesn't change anything. But the fact that, like you said, Trump, they gave Trump the opportunity because, like you said, it's time to put the big boy pants on and talk like fucking men instead of, we'll agree to no. Oh, sorry. So I don't know, passive aggressive instead of just being here we are. Let's fucking roll.
Passive aggressive, fuck, like sheep, man, like fucking sheep begging to not be slaughtered.
Yeah.
It's ignorant as fuck. It's like when you see that great big fucking guy that's a big pussy. It's like, dude, you're wasting it. You are fucking wasting the God-given gift. You know what I mean? So this is where I get a little bit pissed off. Everybody's throwing a fucking fit. How dare you befriend somebody like that? You know, between him and Putin. Again, I don't remember Barack getting to sit down with fucking Putin to sit down and fucking hash things out. So what has he done here? To me, he really looks like he has shown that he wants to make sure he's got a dialogue, some type of a relationship with the countries that seem to be our biggest enemies when he first came into office, right? And everybody fucking, oh no, that's stupid. You can't do that. Those guys are murdering fucking pieces of shit. We don't agree with what they do. But you didn't want to fucking have a war. So instead of being pussies about it, he wants to go about it like a real fucking adult and sit down and talk things out. Bam, that's the way to go.
You know what I can foresee here a little bit? If they're not fucking careful. Now, the man Donald Trump won't go down in history, but the president Donald Trump might go down in history as one of the greatest.
Dude, he's on his way to the GOAT conversation already.
Now, I'm not going to compare him with Abraham Lincoln because Abraham Lincoln did a lot. But as far as what other presidents have done and have not done, he's getting a lot of fucking shit accomplished.
He really is. So a couple more things just kind of on this topic. So he's reached out to his enemies. Wow, that doesn't seem like the smart thing to do. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yes.
A lot of his other proponents when it comes to this have discussed that, you know, before you start making friends with people like Putin and Kim Jong-un, you need to go back and really strengthen your friendships with the European Union nations and your North American allies. You know what he did with them? He went, you know what? Look, we're friends. We can get along. And we should always get along. We should always be on the same team. But you're not fucking us on trade anymore.
Amen.
That's all he's That's all he's done. I mean, anybody that's mad about that.
What did he just do with Mexico?
Yeah, and Mexico was like, oh, sweet. We'll be the first ones first ones to ratify the new NAFTA was Mexico. Way to go, Mexico. Sent 15,000 people to the border. Way to go, Mexico. Right? Most people don't want to see this because it's not going to be on CNN. The Prime Minister of Canada, you know where he was at last week? He was at the White House 2 days before Trump headed into North Korea. Because he's still working with
Who
them.
was?
Thoreau. He is the Prime Minister up in Canada.
Ah.
So he's working on things here. He's working on things there. The European Union. Okay, great. They don't want to fucking partner up with him because they think that what he's asking for in trade is ridiculous. Then tell him to fuck off. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you can't come to a mutual agreement, then they can fuck off. Because they've been taking advantage of us for years. Maybe not to the degree that China and Mexico have, but like China. We've been getting our asses handed to us by China since Bill Clinton was in office. 25 years of this shit. Finally, if you read the headlines, we're getting close to a deal with China that's going to balance trade with China. What a failure. How dare he? How dare he?
How dare he make things right for this fucking country? This country, everything now, you look at toys, I look at all this shit, I'm at the store, I'm like, everybody says, you've always heard, well, at least we did, our generation was always buy American. And you
Buy
look
American.
At, you look at shit, you can't fucking find a toy made in America.
Hell no.
Fucking bullshit. And you know what? Shit like this, where everything won't be outsourced, will do nothing but bring jobs back to the U.S. And put that sticker back on there that says made in the USA.
Amen. And that's what we should be looking to buy. You know, I mean, but they should have, we should be to a point though where the exports that we're sending over there that say made in the USA, they should be proud in their home countries to buy that stuff.
Amen.
You know, not a joke here like made in China is going to fall apart and break in 2 weeks. But if you buy a Swiss watch, what do you expect? That thing's going to run for fucking ever. Why? Because it's made with quality. That is what the American standard is.
You know what? And you have to teach your kids this too. Just the other day, yesterday, my wife and I and my 2 kids, July 4th, one of our local Greasy Spoons were open. And I'll just give them a plug. Sweet Henry's in Norton. And place has been there forever. The owner now, or owners, they're 2 sisters. They took it over from their parents. I'm not sure if their parents' as well, but they've run it. They've done a great job keeping things up and keeping things going. And I was trying to explain to my kids how if we went to this place a lot more often than, let's just say, a Bob Evans, that's not, they're both American companies, but as far as your local town, if you invest into your local mom and pop shops, it will do nothing but make your town thrive.
I agree completely. That's where buying American, buying local, those kind of things, it really matters. I mean, I don't like seeing every store being exactly the same. There is something that to be said about being out of town and being able to go to Walmart. If you're out of town on vacation and you need some stuff, like sometimes a Walgreens or a Walmart are like the most 2 coveted things you can find.
Like I've always preached, everything is, a different animal. Every situation should be looked at differently.
It is.
And absolutely, there are moments where you need the fucking Walmarts.
Yeah.
But they're just like the trade with China.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I had to say on this for now, because Lord knows we're going to have to keep coming back to it because there's only one way to get the message out, and that's to keep on preaching it, is fuck Iran. So everybody that's pissed off that we pulled out of the fucking Iran nuclear deal, so now they could be making nukes behind our backs.
Newsflash, they were already.
I mean, right? Jesus, you really think that they weren't doing this shit someplace in a fucking bunker behind closed doors?
Look what you did. No, you know what we did? We took the money that was being poured into that country and stopped it.
Yes.
Because we don't need their oil anymore.
Right.
That's a fucking fist bump. Let's just do fist bump.
I'll give a fist bump, man. I'm just glad you didn't. I'm glad you held back while the hand was up so that didn't get weird. That was awesome. So if you look at this track record now, right? So what do we have? We have sanctions against North Korea. Now we're crossing into the North Korea peninsula for the first time. Way to go us. We threatened sanctions against Mexico. Now we have a better relationship with Mexico than probably at any other time because we're forcing them to respect us, right? Canada, on Canadian steel. They're getting their asses handed to them on it, and people are bitching and complaining. They want to work towards a deal to get it done. China, same thing, to where it's like, look, we're just going to start slapping tariffs on your shit. Now what do they want to do? They want to come to negotiate. So shut the fuck up about what we're doing with Iran. If the only thing that we can do right now to avoid a humanitarian crisis, which Trump has done twice already, he's not given the go-ahead to blow shit up because of the loss of civilian life. Like that's a genuine guy that gives a shit. So I say, keep going with Iran. Don't get back into the deal until you get 100% full cooperation on everything that we want. And if they don't give us, fuck them. At some point, it's going to come to a boiling point in that region anyway. And anybody that thinks that that region of the world isn't a bunch of fucking warmongers has never read a fucking history book. That entire region has been at war for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. There's never not war in that fucking part of the world. Sorry, it's just going to fucking be like that. So I don't think that we need to be involved in it unless they want to start some shit with us. Then we fucking blow it up. So fuck them. So that's where what I got to say on that. So
Amen.
Thank you for going into North Korea. Keep doing what you're doing. Fucking MAGA. Boom.
All right. Well, before we go into the next topic,
Yeah.
let's get into some harps. You got a harp for this one?
I think my harp is for the next show, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, we can do one for this show.
I got one. You'll appreciate this.
I can do two. I've got two.
No, I've got one. You go first, and then I'll put mine in, though.
All right.
Mine's a little different. It's kind of down its own little tributary.
All right. All right. My harp today is. Now, I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Don't start like that. Do not apologize
fuck
before
off.
you start.
People that change their wardrobe due to getting a tattoo.
I got to understand more about what you're talking about.
Like, I have a shoulder tattoo. But when I got that shoulder tattoo, nor did I cut off every sleeve of every shirt that I ever owned to show that tattoo, that said tattoo off. And just personally, it's a pet peeve that I know people in the shop that have done this. You may have even been one of them.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I've been cutting sleeves off of T-shirts since I had T-shirts.
Okay.
So
Then you're good.
I got one on each arm, and I don't even think about them. Like the
Good.
fact that they're there, who
Yeah.
gives a shit? I wear shorts and T-shirts about
But
as often as I
have
can.
you ever seen the person that got the shoulder tattoo and then they come to work because they're in the shop and they can wear T-shirts and that they've removed every day? It's a sleeveless shirt.
It's a wife beater. It's what they go to. Like if it's like the full shoulder.
No, I'm talking literally snip the sleeves off.
Yeah, dude, that's the best way to make a shirt is to
Right.
cut the sleeves off.
But they only did it because of the tat.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
I get it. You want to show it off. You have proud ink. I get that. But, dude, don't change your wardrobe because of your fucking tat.
I don't know. Maybe it's a change you feel like you need to make. I don't know. Maybe that ink was part of the transition process, and maybe the
So
clothing
you
goes
get one
along
on
with it.
you get one on your calf. You're gonna wear shorts for the rest of your life.
I
Come
wear
on.
shorts all the fucking time. Now, I will tell you, I just got one on my calf a couple months ago. I don't wear like shorts to accentuate
You
it.
don't think about it though.
But no, it's just I got it for me. I didn't get it for anybody else.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, for my wife.
It's like,
Because they match.
I was
but-
talking to about this topic with my wife, and she goes, "Oh, you're gonna make people mad." I'm like, "Well, for one, I don't give a shit.
Right.
For two, she has one a tattoo on her like shoulder blade. She goes, "Yeah, that's kind of stupid. Like I should cut holes in every shirt so people can see it." I'm like, "Yeah, see exactly."
That'd be kind of funny though, actually. Like I would kind of get a kick out of that.
Oh, here she comes. Let's hope she fucking cut that shirt too.
Like you gotta have a good personality to pull that out. Though, like if she was super funny, which she is, Mrs. R is super nice. I'm not saying anything against Mrs. R. But I'm just saying like if you're somebody that's like got a quirky, funny personality, like something like that might be funny. You know what I mean? But like if you're a douche and you do that, then like it's the super douche move.
Well, I mean, and the people that are doing this, what if you got like that giant tattoo on your back? What are you gonna do? Cut the whole back of your shirt off?
I've seen guys at the gym that have done that over the years. Like dudes that literally like they have a full T-shirt on, but like the whole back is cut out. Like, dude, why did you just wear a towel? Like, you know what I mean? It's just it's
Or
the
a
most
couple
ridiculous
pieces
thing.
of yarn.
Right. It's so ridiculous.
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So, mine is. I went fishing today up in Lake Erie with my brother, and my brother's a hell of a fisherman. I would not have half the success that I have out on the lake without him. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's been a tournament fisherman for years. It's a great time to go out with him. He knows everything that's going on the boat. It's kind of like having you here with the podcast. Like if something goes wrong, I'm like, tell me what to do. But like, I'm not the one with ideas.
And I'm like, I don't know.
Right. I'm not the one with ideas on how to actually fix it. I'm just an extra set of hands to kind of help out with everything. But I was telling you about this a little bit earlier, but we got our limit today of beautiful Lake Erie walleye. Can't wait to have a little fish fry for that.
You guys did
But-
it pretty quick.
Yeah, 2.5 hours. We limited it out. There were 3 of us on the boat, so we got 18 really nice walleye in that period of time. But when we get into the docks, okay, This is where my harp is. If you are going to be involved in anything, if you are going to be involved in golf, bowling, fishing, pool, anything like that, that is, we'll call them leisure sports, which we've discussed.
Recreational,
Yeah,
whatever.
but every one of them has an etiquette that goes with it.
That's something we
Etiquette
forgot.
is huge when it comes to these kind of things.
Yes.
If you're bowling,
Bowling
right?
and golfing.
If you're up on the approach to bowl, the two people on each side of you should not be on the approach beside you because they get into your peripheral vision. If you're somebody that bowls a lot, that happens.
What's the percentage of people you think know that?
I would
40?
Unless you've bowled in a league, you would never know that. I mean, I didn't learn that till I bowled in my first day of my first league, and they were like, "Whoa, come here, don't do that." And like I was like, "Boo," and they're like, "No, seriously, don't do that." And I was like, "Okay." And now, I mean, but like when we go for open bowling and stuff, like you learn to time it. But anyway, don't want to get too far off the page here. But like, in pool, you know. You don't stand right where somebody's trying to shoot. You don't get lined up right with where their shot's at, standing opposite them trying to shoot.
That's twofold though.
Right. You don't talk to them. You don't talk to them while they're trying to shoot. And it's ridiculous. Golf. You don't talk while somebody's teeing off, while somebody's putting. You don't hit into somebody when you're going down range. So when you're fishing, remember this when fishing. There's one dock that comes in. You launch your boat from here. There's the other side where your boat goes in. Basically, every launch ramp is set up like this to where there's an in lane and an out lane. Be in the right fucking lane. We were like the 8th boat back, and that happens on busy, nice days up on Lake Erie, especially when the fish are hitting good. And it's like I watched these two boats full of idiots that went into the oncoming lane and fucked everything up. Like there was no rhythm to anything. Like it got to the point where the field marshal, actually came down and started chewing this one boat's ass for even being in there. The other boat had just gotten out, but there's a whole line of people, like 20 boats trying to get into the water, and they just can't get in. So if you're going to get into any kind of a side sport like that, I feel like it's one of these things where we're all individuals, do things the way that you want to in life for the most part. But if you're going to get involved with anything like this, learn the fucking etiquette so that you don't look like a fucking asshole. That's my harp.
Well done. Well said.
Etiquette. So, moving along.
All right. Well, I say we do this next topic a little bit quick.
Yeah, I think we'll get through it fast.
I want to get into the Gallows poll. So this is a kind of a funny one for me because I know how Jake thinks about this kind of topic.
Yes.
A little bit. For the most part, I've got to...
Imagine the worst situation on earth.
Yes. Imagine if we had to vote Democrat.
You have no other option but to pick somebody from this 2020 primary.
So we've got two guys. Now, this is all from Jake's brainchild. He's been listening. He followed the Democratic debate just the other night.
Keep your enemies close, folks.
Yeah, that's right. And two guys out of this debate he was very impressed with. Taken back a little bit like, wow, maybe we should listen to these guys. And their names are Andrew Yang and Pete Buttigieg.
It's got to be Buttigieg.
I said Buttigieg.
Yeah, you can't use Buttigieg.
I didn't say Buttigieg.
They have though.
Now, so
have you done some homework on either one of these guys to where you know which one you would vote for in this situation?
No, because I was listening to what you were telling me the other day, which you're going to regurgitate here momentarily, and
sure,
and I will, pipe in.
Easily my first choice, and probably one of the guys that isn't going to make it, and I realize that. But if I was forced to vote Democrat, I would be seriously considering to vote for Andrew Yang. His platform is a unique platform. It's not like everybody else's. He's running on universal basic
UBI,
income.
Yeah, you were telling me about this.
Yeah, and it's really interesting the way that he has it laid out to where every American would get $1,000 per month. Every American in every household, right? To where if you have 3 adults in your household that are age 18 or above, each of you get $1,000 per month. That's universal basic income, right? To where if you have a 2-adult family, a 2-adult home, you get $2,000. This doesn't mean that you stop working. You don't have to stop working. You can value add to your life on top of that. But basically the way that he has the whole thing structured is this would take away from other programs that are being run now that are not helping a majority of people. Things where money is being taken out of the system. It's kind of like if you give to the Salvation Army and you think, well, maybe 30% of what gets given actually makes it in to help a needy person because the rest of it all goes through the system. I'm not throwing a rock at the Salvation Army. I was using them as an example.
So if I hear you right,
Yeah.
The universal basic income with this plan, the people that are homeless
Would all qualify.
would all of a sudden be able to pay rent.
Yes.
Woohoo!
And one of the amazing things that he said about this that some of the other people were like, whoa, whoa, like they think he's crazy already for this. And he said, you would have to be a documented, legal U.S. citizen that is not incarcerated. But the moment that you are no longer incarcerated, you are automatically eligible again, to where it takes a large number of people from our prison population that come out and they're having a hard time finding the high quality jobs. Instantaneously, their quality of life is better. If you have an extra $1,000 a month coming in, all of a sudden a $10 an hour job ain't that bad.
No, and you might not have to go hit the fucking skids or the jobs again.
That's right.
Jobs being,
Yeah.
heists or whatever you want. Heist.
Yes.
I said heist.
I know
But
what you
mean-
meant.
I mean, drug dealing,
Yes.
whatever it may be to
Yes.
make it ends meet. Now, but, if I know in the world that everybody all of a sudden now is getting 1,000 extra bucks, aren't I jacking up prices on rent and things like that?
No. Nope, because that's where you would get some of that stuff to where it would all be controlled isn't the right word, but like your market's going to dictate how all of that goes. Because like I said, it's just going to be taking away from other programs where the money isn't getting to where it needs to be. Again, do some research on this. We could probably do an entire show on it if we wanted to do like a serious deep dive. I'm giving you like the 40,000 foot view of the
Right.
way that he's got this set up. A couple other quick things that I like about him. His healthcare is a little bit of a hybrid to where, look, if you are somebody that is old or even middle-aged and you literally are debilitated to where you can't work, Americans shouldn't be left behind.
No.
Right? You shouldn't, just because you got sick at the age of 70, everything you've ever worked for your entire life shouldn't go to a company that is treating you for cancer instead of you being able to leave your loved ones some kind of an inheritance someday. I mean, this is how he has some of these things set up. It's called human first capitalism, to where it's giving, it takes the huge business tax breaks away from big companies and gives them to small companies, to where small companies would have like 3-year, 5-year, 7-year exemptions on not paying certain levels of taxes in a way to promote small businesses coming back. I mean, really human first capitalism and making the bigger companies pay a bigger chunk of what they were supposed to. Like I said,
So that's Yang's biggest, like,
yeah,
that's his claim to
UBI
fame.
and human capitalism. And he's also he's the only one that I've heard so far, and he didn't say much about it, but if you go on and look at any of his information online, he is running on the federal legalization of marijuana, which we've discussed on the show that this is one of the winning tickets.
He's a smart cookie because
He's a tech mogul.
There are a lot of people out there that want this.
Yeah. You listen to other candidates talk about this, and they're pissed that, like, they're basically states' rights. Like, oh, this is bullshit that the states are doing this. Now, a couple things real quick. Again, there's not going to be a perfect candidate for here. He's as close as it got to for me. Few things that were not on the same page on. He's super duper pro-choice, like all the way pro-choice, like up to the late term, the whole 9 yards. Men shouldn't have a say in anything. Like it's a whole different thing. This is a societal issue. It's not just about women. It's not just about babies. It's about men, women, babies, everybody. It's a large scale problem.
We know that going in with the Democrats. So I say we stick to their pros.
Right. He also believes that we could defend our country with half of the funding that we currently have for our military. No, I don't like that. Our military funding is as high as it's ever been, and there's a reason that it's the best that it's ever been. So those are kind of the biggest knocks on. Oh, and his 2A, he wants every gun to be documented that every person has ever owned in the history of all time. It's never going to work like that.
It doesn't matter.
He's part of the buyback AR-15 program, like one of those subscribers.
You can document every single fucking gun that's
right.
But guess what? You're not getting documented. The bad guys' guns.
Right, exactly. So that's Yang. Again, there's plenty of reasons to not give him your vote ever, but if you were painted into a corner, he's not bad. My second choice, some people would disagree with me on this. Again, I view Buttigieg as a far second to Yang, because Yang is just, he's closer to the middle, I think. Buttigieg, though, he's very bipartisan. Like, he really firmly believes that bipartisanship is the only way to get anything done. He thinks that there should be a statute on the number of things that Congress have to get done every year, because there's years that they just don't get shit accomplished other than fighting back and forth on everything, to where I think that that's a super big deal. He's very honest about the fact that the party that he's in is a clusterfuck right now. that basically nobody knows what direction anybody's trying to go. You have like your old school, they're on the left, but like they're like the hippie old school left, and then you have your super left with, Ocasio-Cortez and all the crazy pantses that are on that side of it. So
Cortez.
And he does not support late-term abortion. He believes that all abortions should be first-term abortions. Again, I'm not going to be completely on his side. That's okay. I'm just saying it's better than some of the shit that's going on currently in New York. A couple of things that are really, really bad against him, though. Like,
what are the good things? Just the bipartisanship?
I mean, he's super bipartisan. Like, when you listen to him talk, like, he sounds like he is for America. Like, the things that he believes in, like, he does believe in free trade and, like, having strong trade agreements that we're not just giving the farm away again, And it's one of, like, he's gone all but one step shy of giving Trump credit for where we're at on that. But basically, he's made comments to the effect of, we've made progress when it comes to the way we diplomatically handle trade. So he wants to keep that going and keep growing on it from there. I think that's a good thing, So late-term abortions, at least it's something to where it's pulled back from. He's probably more conservative than a lot. I mean, he's attended the rallies and stuff like that, but he's actually probably more conservative about that than most of the other people that are running. But there's three things that are really bad against him that, like, any one of these could immediately, like, check him off your list. The first one,
Disqualified.
The first one is that he is part of the Elizabeth Warren committee to abolish the Electoral College. I don't want to go into a huge rant on this. Do a 5-minute read on how the Electoral College actually works. We need this to stay in place. If you do not want the states of New York, California, and Florida to basically determine your elections every year, to where the rest of the country is going to be doing whatever they decided we're going to do, the Electoral College stays in place exactly for that reason. People are spread out across this country. Urban centers should not be dictating all of the rules. That's what would happen there.
That's right.
Huge kick in the pants. He supports the Ocasio-Cortez 70% tax threshold on people. I'm sorry, that's a fucking crazy number. I don't care how much money you make a year. I believe that everybody should pay fucking taxes, but you shouldn't be charging anybody 70% on fucking taxes. That makes it, to me, is it worth working for 30%? And then the crazy thing, like, this is his crazy pants idea. We have what's considered to be a conservative Supreme Court right now, to where conservative laws are going into place. It's just the fact of the fucking matter, right? So his whole thing is that the Supreme Court needs to be changed to 10 permanent Supreme Court justices, and then there's 5 more that can be brought in at the discretion of the Supreme Court, but they all have to the Supreme Court itself has to unanimously vote on it.
Gotcha.
So where that is fucked is, like, so if you work long enough or hard enough to get 10 people on there that are all on the same team, then they're just going to own the Supreme Court for fucking ever. I mean, it's dirty the way that it happens now and all the infighting and the things that go on to get somebody onto the court, but it's the fairest way to do it, to where it doesn't all become super one-sided. Right. So if in a shitty world, if we ended up in that situation, that's what we would be dealing with. If you had to vote Democrat, Andrew Yang should definitely be your man. He's a Republican's Democrat. I mean, but he's not going to win. So, and I'm comfortable with the fact that Donald's going to kick the shit out of Bernie and Uncle Joe. So,
all right, then.
Good times. So that's all we got on that part.
So now we're going to go into the second part of the show, which is our Gallows poll.
Yes.
So this is we're going to say, I'm just going to say, this is our true crime portion of the show, to where if this is something that you guys like, we may turn it into a whole episode.
Please let us know what you think about this, because it's a little bit of a different idea. It's a little bit different take. You can turn on any podcasts, any number of podcasts, and listen to true crime, right? The Gallows poll started off as something, if you listen back to our earlier episodes, as something to where we said, hey, this person or this group of people, they should be led to the gallows, pay the ultimate price because they're a piece of shit.
Guillotine,
Drawn
Hangman's
quarter.
Noose, Drawn Quarter.
Right?
That was one of our favorites.
But as we've gone on, we decided to take a little bit different look at this. Was a great idea on Adam's part, to actually look at people that are going there. Like, who's actually going to the chair? Like,
Right.
let's not just talk about who we think should be there. Who's really going?
Are they deserving? Do we think that the crimes they committed deserve what their punishment is? More than most, we probably will say yes.
Yeah.
Not only that, accomplices. There's just 1,000 different ways we can go here on opinions.
Yeah.
Straightforward dialect, whatever. But it's
So we're going to give you some taste. We're going to give you some updates on some current things that are going on. If you like this, if you enjoyed this part of it, please let us know. We are dying for some feedback once we start getting into this on every show, every other show. It might even turn into something where we do an entire show dedicated to it and see if some of our followers like that. So just let us know. Again, it's something that we're interested in, and it's more of the further down the line look instead of every true crime podcast being about the same 85 cases that have happened over the years.
Right.
We're kind of moving forward into the next part of it.
So some of the true crime shows might cover some of these people.
Yes.
But we're covering them as far as, are they going to be executed? And if not, what happened?
Yeah.
Or why did they get a stay? Or whatever.
Yep.
So we do have an update from our last Gallows Poll episode. Marion Wilson. We actually, we were recording on June 20th.
Yeah.
And Marion Wilson was executed on June 20th.
Yes, he was.
I don't have the time on that, but I would imagine somewhere around 6 p.m., 7 or 8 p.m., somewhere in there.
And he is number 1,500, right?
1,500. Since what?
70-something.
76?
I think 72 or 76. Yeah, it was. We'd have to double check it, but I think the law went in place in
That's a
72.
lot.
But I think the law was voted in 72. It actually, everything started moving in 76.
Well, you figure, I mean, the ratio of executions at first had to be huge.
Huge.
But we saw what was last year was like 23.
23.
So they're not moving very fast anymore.
Not as fast.
Yeah.
Some of these might start picking up some steam, though. We'll see. There's a
know.
lot of people on the list right now.
So Marion Wilson was executed on June 20th in Georgia. What was his story? He was the one that him and his buddy left Burger King, killed an off-duty officer.
Yeah, that was him.
The officer, I believe you had stated he knew them or knew of them.
Yes.
And he gave them a ride, and they killed him, and it was for like, I think they even robbed him, and it was like, they got like $20.
Next to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a worthless crime.
And, the day of his possible execution of the 20th, I saw a YouTube video with his daughter begging for his life. And I get that. She was looking like she was in her early 20s, maybe even 20.
Yeah.
And I get that. I mean, it's your father. You don't want to see him die, even
Sure.
if the only time you've ever spent with him is through the glass of a prison. But you know what? I don't think she takes in consideration these families that were affected.
Right.
So
who the true victims were
right
in this. And I'm not going to say that she is not in some way a victim.
Of course
but
she
she's
is.
a victim of what her father did, not a victim of the system or anything like that, like people would paint it.
The problem is one man pulled the trigger and 2 men got sentenced to death.
Yes.
Butts was the other one.
Yep.
He died a year earlier.
Yep.
2 lethal injections. So.
Yep. So I'm glad they can finally close that chapter for the family to finally know that both of those gentlemen are no longer consuming oxygen on this planet.
The problem, I mean, I know they have to go through the legal process and there are appeals because that's just the way our system works.
Yeah.
But it just seems like it's too long.
Yeah. Well, there are definitely some that are too long.
So we got Ruben Gutierrez in Texas. He was scheduled for July 31st.
Yes.
Which is in about a week and a half.
Yeah.
And do you have some information on him?
It's not much, but we have a little bit. So all that we know right now, just a little bit of background of a reminder. Ruben Gutierrez was part of the screwdriver killing of Escalista. I'm sorry for butchering the name. It's Escalastica Harrison. It's
Mrs. Harrison.
Ms. We'll call her Ms. Harrison.
She was like 85, right?
Yes, she was an elderly woman, and this was a robbery, right? And they had killed her with a screwdriver. He was sentenced to die on 7/31. All of a sudden, in the last week, his name has come off of the docket, and there's been no reason given. The state has not commented as to what the reason is for the reschedule. They're calling this a reschedule, though, and not a stay, to where it looks like it's something that is an internal issue for the state, not an internal issue that's going on with his case.
Right. So that looks like.
It might be difficulty getting the drugs, which we've seen in a lot of other situations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to where getting the actual
In
drugs.
Texas, though?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I believe in Texas.
You'd think they would have like a closet full.
Well, I believe that they'll get it figured out. So again, the unconfirmed rescheduled date for that is October 30th. So as we get closer and we go through this every couple of weeks, we will get back to Ruben. But for now, he's going to soak up a few more of your tax dollars sitting on death row.
Well, the other thing is he had some accomplices, and they were kind of vague about the accomplices.
Yeah.
There was 2 or 3, and they said that the one guy, I had it in my notes last time, was more of, they thought was more of the mastermind, if you will.
Yeah.
But where they were really vague on what the other ones were getting, like with the Marion Wilson.
Yeah.
We knew the other guy had been executed.
Right.
He was being, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this is a little bit weird, but that Ruben Gutierrez and his gang got away with like 55 grand, 56 grand from this old lady.
Terrible.
So yeah,
Well,
bad.
it is what it is.
So
We got some scheduled though upcoming, right? That we kind of want to get introduced and give a little bit of information or maybe an update on.
yeah, so we always do or we are going to start doing. We have at bat, on deck, and in the hole. Steal a little baseball terms there, but ironically, our 2 at bats are actually on the same day.
Well, you take your guys the out bat, and I'll take my guy on deck then.
Okay, so Dexter Johnson, so our dates are August 15th.
August 15th,
So let me look at my date here. So we've got July 5th here. So
6 weeks.
yeah, about 6 weeks. I wouldn't want to be those guys. So Dexter Johnson is supposed to be executed on August 15th in Texas.
Yeah.
This is a weird one. Maybe not weird, but just different.
Okay.
In 2006, so not too long ago,
No.
he was with 4 friends. The brain-damaged schizophrenic carjacked and killed Maria Apparence and excuse me, High NGO. We'll just say no. So these
So this guy was a schizophrenic.
well,
and-
at 18, he was he had brain damage, and what they're saying is that, like, if you look at his brain on a CAT scan, there's a hole, like that you could physically pour water through.
Really?
Yeah, but apparently he was able to function. But in 2006, he went on a 1-month violence. I don't know.
Spree.
Violence spree or whatever you want to call it. There's probably a better word for it. But so that this couple. Let me see if it says what they did here. Okay, so there was a couple in a car. These 4 found them in the car. They raped the girl.
All
And-
4 of them, or him specifically, or
It was definitely this Johnson,
Okay.
for sure. Part of the story that I read was they made the guy get on his knees, and he raped his girlfriend while he was listening. Yeah, I mean, this is some sick shit. It was really bad. The jury only took 2 hours to find him guilty of carjacking, rape, robbery. The investigators took 5 days to figure out what happened. But then after that, he started, I I don't know if he was admitting to more crimes or they were putting the pieces together that around this whole time frame. After the quick guilty verdict, jurors heard testimony about a month-long crime spree. There you go.
Yep.
Before and after a double slaying. Prosecutors said Johnson may have killed a 60-year-old man washing his barbecue pit at the local car wash. So it sounds like this guy and his gang were just running around, finding people in predicaments,
Yeah.
and taking them out. A few weeks later, the day before the slayings of the Maria and Hugh, Johnson and a partner in crime robbed two men standing at a payphone, killing one after he only offered them a roll of quarters.
Really?
So they wanted money. The guy just had a roll of quarters and pow, 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 pow.
And that was enough for them to just
So-
mow this guy down.
But of course, with the brain damage, what do you think his defense is claiming?
Insanity.
And he's incompetent. And even though he did all these things, he didn't know what he was doing. You know what? At this point, who the fuck cares? This guy needs to be gone. He cannot be a part of society.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for this one,
Sounds like he killed.
Like you said, every situation is going to be different, and the one I get to in a minute is going to be similar but different. But I agree, given this situation, the fact that it was before and after, like it wasn't like this was the pinnacle of his crime spree. He kept going after this. It sounds like until he was caught. So I would say in this situation,
If the stories are true, that like this, I mean, that's almost like it reminds me of like Hitler stuff, like raping the guy's girlfriend so he could hear him,
yeah,
and then capping them both.
yeah, that's pretty terrible. Not gonna lie, like that. That's not a lot of show comedy.
I tried to put a little bit of being in their shoes, and I'm just like, I can't imagine.
Yeah, no,
Can't imagine.
nope. And if I was in any kind of way related to either one of the victims, the real victims in this case, I would absolutely 1,000% be pushing for it.
Like I was just saying, how some of these take too long.
Yeah.
This is just 12 years. And I know 12 years to some people is a long time. It is a long time to me. But some of these cases take 30 years or more.
Yeah.
So the fact that he did this in 2006 and he's about to be executed in,
13 years.
yeah.
Well, it's funny because the next update that I have is about Stephen Michael West, who we discussed on a previous show, and he's actually on for the same day. So we got a double header, right?
Back-to-back jacks.
Right? Enough time for a beer in between. This case has actually started to bother me a little bit. I feel like the research that we had on it at the beginning was maybe a little rushed. That explained that him and his accomplice, whose name was Martin, that they worked together. Ironically, again, they worked at a fast food joint together. This Martin had put advances on a girl that he went to school with. She rejected it. So Martin and West together went over to their house. They got their way into the house after the dad had left for work. Martin was 17 at the time. He admitted to raping the 16-year-old Sheila, and then actually killed the mother and the daughter, both. And he admitted this much, like literally verbatim, said, "I'm the one that did the murdering. I'm the one that did the raping," in a confession, because he knew at that point that his ship was sunk. He was 17, so he couldn't be convicted and sentenced to death. The most they could give him was life in prison.
Right.
So on the other side, this is where I start to have some conflict with this. Stephen Michael West was 23, running around with a 17-year-old. He had been diagnosed to have several mental disorders, including schizophrenia, earlier in his life. Hearing voices, they've had multiple doctors that have said prior to and since he's been in prison that like this guy is clearly not 100% there. He has serious psychological issues. The state, the county, the state, and the federal government have all refused to review the case.
At this point.
Yeah. And this is a situation to where this guy was there. There's no proof of anything that he actually actively participated in anything. other than the fact that he was there. He has said on the record that he didn't know that this was going to happen. He thought that they were stopping by. He understood that Sheila was a friend of Martin's, and that
Wasn't this the one where the both the mom and the daughter were stabbed like 20 times?
yeah, stab wounds, like over 54 stab wounds, I think, between the two of them, something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah, to where a lot of people just look at this as the fact that West is getting the death sentence because they couldn't give it to Martin. And this guy is constantly drugged up. Like he is on the article is very clear. He's on a bevy of drugs every single day. They have to keep him in solitary confinement because he's a danger to himself and other inmates because he has so many psychological problems. I don't know that there's going to be any justice that really comes from giving this guy lethal injection. To me, this doesn't feel like the crime is fitting the punishment. Should he have made better choices of who he was running around with? Yes. Should he have put his life on the line to intervene to maybe stop what was happening in the house? Yes. But this guy has a huge myriad of problems that I just don't feel like can be overlooked. I'm not saying let him free. I'm not saying send him back out into society. I don't think that that's the answer. But this just does not feel to me like it fits.
Like we're just have to dub this right now. It's like the Stephen Avery effect, where they're just looking for somebody to pin the death penalty on because they couldn't do the other guy.
Yeah. It's like they're mad they couldn't get one, so they're getting the other one. So,
and that's something that pisses me off, and that's why this is where we are going to interject and think. Like Jake is saying that he doesn't feel like this is right.
Right. I mean, this is how we're going to approach this. We're going to give you the facts of what we know, and then we're going to give our opinion on it too.
Yeah.
And the only good thing I can say is that it sounds like there are some people in Tennessee that, as we get closer and closer to this date, are really starting to push to have somebody take some kind of a look at this. I mean, I don't know if life imprisonment's the right answer. This crime was committed in 1986, and he was already 23 at the time. So if you do the math on that, that makes it that he was born in 1963. So he's already 56 years old, right? He's been in prison more than half of his life. The only reason he's been there this long is because of all the problems that they've had actually getting lethal injection drugs. That's why I was curious if that was the reason for the length in time for the gentleman down in Texas. So get online. I encourage you to check this out. I mean, you're going to hear this a couple weeks before all of this is supposed to go down. Let us know what you think. If you think that he should go down or not. This gets my vote for no Gallows. No Gallows for Steven on this one for me.
But do you think that Martin should? Even at 17, I think he should.
I think that as this story comes out, I hope that there's some prison justice that gets doled out.
I mean,
some yard style shit.
How can we be this as a society if you're 1 year
17?
If you're 1 year away,
you got to have a cutoff someplace. Your frontal lobe, that is like a lot of your decision making, isn't fully developed until you're 25. So if you want to move everything to 25, like at least there's a basis for it.
There should be.
I'm just saying.
All right. So the last guy, the guy that's in the hole here.
Yeah, he's got a little bit longer, right?
Yeah, August 21st. I can't talk.
21st. So he's got another week.
August 21st.
6 days.
Larry Swearingen, supposed to be executed in Texas on August 21st. On December 8th, 1999, he was 29 years old. He's convicted of raping and murdering Melissa Trotter in 1998. I already said that. The case has sparked a change in Texas laws regarding DNA tests. And I think that the reason that's happened, when you start reading some of this, you kind of you're almost on Swearingen's side, because you're like, there's no DNA that's connected to him. The connection
from the rape, there's no DNA?
No. The story goes that they were with each other. Larry had an interest in dating Melissa.
Sure.
And he had talked to her a few times. I think they went to school together, and she had agreed to go to lunch with him. They hung out all day. Then the next day, they hung out most of the day, and then he was supposed to go and have lunch with her and maybe call it a date. And I guess at some point there was some sort of a sexual advance, like sexual innuendo and right then she's like, can you just take me home?
Oh,
And it provoked him. And,
allegedly, or
well, this is, I mean, it's all alleged. It's all circumstantial evidence. So this is kind of,
do they have a body?
yes.
Do they have a weapon?
Well,
First
so
two questions from any murder. You got to have those two things.
they have a body. I don't think they have a weapon because it looks like what had happened was, if he did it, let's just say he did it in what they stated.
Okay.
So they're in the car. They left at college in his truck after they ate some chicken and green vegetables. He made a sexual advance, which she rejected. The rejection upset him, and he hit her on the left side of the face. They found out the body had, on the right side of the face, or it's the left side of the
Left
face,
side.
was darker than the right. Because, they have this body that's been dumped in the woods, an area where he knew about.
Okay.
There's a lot of weird stuff, like they had searched this area, and they didn't find the body. And they said this is like, but you had to be within 20 feet to see it.
Okay.
So it must have been highly foliaged, forest or whatever.
Sure.
And but then I thought, from what I was reading, like some of there's a lot of experts saying no, the body could have only been there for like 3 days. It must have been in like a freezer. So I'm thinking, if I'm putting all this together, he knew they searched the area, and once they searched it, he put it out there. So then it would have time to decay, and they're already gone. But apparently the searches continued, and then they found it. Like the
I guess I still don't understand how this ties into him. I mean, in the story,
he was the last one to be with her,
okay.
and
He admitted that, I'm assuming.
well, he told a story about what they did, and then he dropped her off, and of course, obviously nothing involved. But here's, to me, the nail in the coffin about this case was he learned. He had this English-Spanish dictionary,
Yeah.
and he wrote a letter using this in Spanish like it was from somebody else, like to inmates, because he knew it would get caught or found or something. And they looked at it, and he describes so much about the victim, that she was wearing like red underwear and all this, or red panties, however you want to use the terminology, and all this stuff from the crime scene. But he also used inconsistencies as well. Like, she was strangled with with stockings, like nylon stockings.
Okay.
But in the Spanish letter, it said like with a rope. So the crime was stated properly, but it was like he used inconsistencies, and they weren't sure if this was on purpose. But they know that he sent this letter.
How do they know he sent it?
I don't know. Though, however, it was confiscated.
Okay.
But he had it, so it was like supposed to be sent from somebody else. And then in the letter, the second part is, the man that you have in prison shouldn't be. He's innocent, and yada yada yada. So for me, like, as I'm reading all this stuff, I'm like, wow, he didn't do it.
Right.
But then when I see this letter, I'm like, oh my God, it's so obvious. He's got all this stuff that they didn't release, like she had red underwear.
Okay.
And at that day, he would be the only one to know that.
So do you feel like there was significant enough evidence to convict this guy?
I think that letter for me does it.
Okay.
I mean,
It's irrefutable evidence that he killed her.
only certain people can know certain things.
That's fair. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, he was 29 at the time. I believe she was 18. So, or 19, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty sick. I think about, as well as you do, your daughters and stuff, and it's like, motherfucker. But they're alleging that she was raped,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
So we're going to give him the yes vote then? Sounds like he
Well, I'm waiting for the date. Yep.
sounds like he deserves to get it on the 21st.
So now you were talking about Stephen Michael West. Are they still pushing forward on this?
Yeah, it's still moving forward as of right now. Like, there's no stays, there's no reschedules right now. We're just waiting to hear if anything's going to get done on the state level. If not, it's going to be the end for Mr. West. So,
Well, we will keep you updated.
yes.
And
As the Gallows go, we will keep you updated. Another thing that we might add into a show sooner or later is start looking back a little bit on people that have already been through the process and exactly what their crime was and what landed them there. And
Yeah, Jake had this. So we've got the at bat, the on deck, and in the hole, and we might have the Hall of Famers.
I don't know if we want to quite call them Hall of Famers.
Hall of
but-
Famer of death row. I mean,
Right.
like a Ted Bundy, he'd qualify.
Well, but
I mean, we don't want to give you
everybody's
Ted
done-
Bundy because
everybody's done
everybody,
Ted Bundy.
right? But I'm just saying there might be some Ted Bundys that not too many people know about.
Yeah, I definitely think that there will be. You know, some guys that have already made the round tripper. You know,
Somebody I think we should cover. I mean, a lot of people know his story, but I don't think it was as coveted or as covered as maybe like a Ted Bundy, but like the Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, for us, he's the local guy.
I mean, yeah, we've got some local insight that we can handle on that, and we actually have some local people that will definitely qualify for this.
Yeah.
Like Robert Buell. If you want to do a little bit of research on him, I'll get him on the show pretty soon. Not as a guest because he's dead, but
And he's a sick mother.
that's right. So, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the Gallows Pool part of it tonight. Let us know what you think. We're gonna keep working and we're gonna keep digging in deep, getting you some good information on this stuff and something to follow along with. See what you think. So it's a good check and balance on our judicial system. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, it's something that we kind of wanted to extend upon.
Right.
So if you're down with it, if you think it's cool, if you think there's some things we should be, some angles we should be hitting, otherwise, let us know.
Yeah. Let us know. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week.
Pip, pip.
Cheerio.